Goddess, sing of the cataclysmic wrath of great Achilles, son of Peleus, which caused the Greeks immeasurable pain, and sent so many noble souls of heroes to Hades, and made men the spoil of dogs, a banquet for the birds, and so the plan of Zeus unfolded, starting with a conflict between great Agamemnon, lord of men, and glorious Achilles. Today I have finished the Iliad by Homer using the Emily Wilson translation, and I'll be honest with you guys, it was awesome. I have read the Iliad many times throughout my life. I've read it probably at least 10 times since first finding it all the way back in middle school and becoming obsessed with Greek mythology. But of all the times I have read it, of all the different translations I've come across, I think the Emily Wilson translation is by far the best. This just rocked. I mean, like, this was just an awesome experience. I listened to it on Audible, and whoever decided to give the Iliad this audiobook narrator, they deserve like $100 million. They deserve like all the money in the world, because when I tell you that I think that audiobook narrator was the perfect choice for the Iliad, and it is one of the best audiobooks I've ever listened to in my entire life, I'm not just saying that. If you plan to read the Iliad, I highly recommend Emily Wilson because she understands Greek very well, and she translates it in a very poetic way that really kind of, it elevates the text. But I also really strongly recommend the audiobook version of hers specifically, because the Audible narrator is fantastic. And it makes what is already one of the greatest works in all of Western literature, if not in all of literature ever, even better. So why should you read the Iliad, besides the fact that it's like one of the most important works in all of human history and beloved by literally hundreds of millions of people? Well, it's like the inspiration for all fantasy that we as Westerners kind of consume. And it is also just awesome to read. If you are someone who is a fan of godlike men fighting, if you're a fan of gods fighting, if you're a fan of just great poetry and beautiful prose and iconic characters that have lasted literally 3,000 years and counting, then there's really no reason to not read the Iliad. Not only is it an incredibly important work in human history that brought about some of the most renowned and beloved heroes to ever exist, just small names like Hector, Achilles, Odysseus, and many, many more, including, Ajax the Greater, Paris, etc. It's also just like a fantastic story of war, of the horrors and the glory of war, of great men fighting one another, of loss, of tragedy, of gods and human hubris, and all those things. I mean, it's seriously just like, it's hard to like actually compound how good the Iliad is, because if you haven't read it, you just don't know. And if you have read it, then you do know. It is one of the greatest works ever, period. I would say the Iliad is like maybe the great poem. Like, it is the epic poem, and it's like just wonderful to read. It has great characters. The action, if you think of it like that, is amazing and incredibly well written. The way the gods interact with the humans and the humans interact with gods, and how the humans interact with each other, and the sense of nobility that you get while reading this, it's just like, it's mind-blowingly good. And the kind of central thesis on pride and wrath, and how it's always going to lead to the downfall of men, and how we can't escape our own destinies. I don't know, like that resonates really, really hard for some reason. So the Iliad is like just one of the best things I've ever read, and I love rereading it. I think I come to appreciate it more and more every time I read it. So like 9.5 out of 10, one of the best things I've ever read, one of the best things I read all year. And if you haven't read the Iliad for some reason, you really should.